Alright guys, in a bit makakasama na po natin si Luke sa line from Immigration. So I think he's ready now. Sige, isama na natin siya sa line. Hi Luke.
Hi Vince, good to be here.
Okay. I guess I am Stour listening right now. Would you like to say hi or greet them?
Sure, hi guys. How's it going?
How was your Sunday, Luke?
Yeah, it's going well, thank you Vince. Yeah, good.
Okay. Before we proceed, I have already mentioned to the listeners about, a brief about what we are discussing today. But can I ask what exactly I do? Oh,
Sure, yeah. So IAM is a private law firm based in London. And we're dealing with all areas of immigration law into the UK. Also, interestingly for your listeners, perhaps a large percentage of our clients are actually part of the Filipino community.
yeah.
But we, at the moment, are generally doing three main areas of practice. One of those is immigration and family law. The other is recruitment and education. So those are our focuses.
So okay, and basically, you are recruiting nurses, or what exactly do you do?
So, as a firm, we are both able to assist nurses finding employers in the UK, but we are also able to help them do their immigration application to come through to the UK as well.
All right. Okay. So now going straight to the topic about NMC, or the Nursing and Midwifery Council. You mentioned earlier when we were discussing about it that the scheme has changed, and I think it's better than the old one in a way.
Yeah, I would say it is better. There are some slightly new stages to the process,
Okay.
which we can discuss, but ultimately the process is now quicker. So you're actually able to come through and practice as a registered nurse in the UK quicker.
Right.
And also that will come with a higher salary at an earlier stage in the process. So I would say actually for people interested to come to the UK as registered nurses, the situation has got better.
Okay. Can we just go back? What was the previous process?
Okay, yes. So before the 1st of October 2014, sorry,
Yeah.
the process was that if you were a registered nurse and you had 1 year's experience post-registration, and you had your IELTS at level 7 in all areas, then you were then able to begin the NMC registration process. And once you'd begun that process, you would then be able to make an immigration application to come to the UK.
Right.
Once you'd done that, you would then have to go through an adaptation stage in the UK where you would be paid at a slightly lower rate, and that would last for a number of months. Only after that would you then be entered onto the register with the NMC.
So depending on approval, it could be, I think it could be 3, 6, or 9 months adaptation.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
So we're talking quite a lengthy period where you could be paid slightly less than a fully qualified nurse.
All right. And now, can you discuss, for the benefits of the listeners, can you discuss what the changes are after 1st of October?
Sure. So post 1st of October 2014, you still need to be a registered nurse in your country that you're applying from. You still need to have a year's experience.
Right.
And you still will need to have your IELTS at level 7 in all areas.
Okay.
However, now you will do a competency test, an online competency test in the country that you're applying from.
Right.
And then once you have passed that successfully, you will then be invited to come to the UK, where you will do another slightly more extensive test. That's a day-long test. But provided you pass that test in the UK, you will then pretty much be entered onto the register immediately, at which point you would then be a registered nurse in the UK and you would get the salary that comes along with that.
So that means they are basically not doing adaptation anymore.
So yeah, so the main difference is that whereas before you would come to the UK and do, you know, potentially a 9-month period whereby you're getting paid at a lower salary rate before you be entered into the register of the NMC, now there's a 1-day test.
Right.
Once that test is completed, you can expect to go onto the register very shortly after that.
The test that needs to be done in the UK.
Test that needs to be done in the UK.
All
That
right.
test is called the Objective Structured Clinical Examination, the OSCE, which you can see mentioned and explained on the NMC website.
Right. Okay. So, and after this process, they are automatically be registered on NMC with NMC.
Yeah, the only stage following the OSCE stage of the process is that there will be an identification stage whereby the various documents that are required for your application will be verified. Your identification essentially is verified, and once they've completed that to their satisfaction, you will then be entered onto the register.
On the immigration side of things, look, how would they go into doing the test in the UK? Do they need some sponsor, or how do they go about it?
So there are 2 options available,
Right.
And one of them is if you already have an employer lined up, and one of them is if you don't. So if
Right.
you have an employer lined up, you would make your standard Tier 2 work permit application, and the employer would put on as the start date of your employment the date of your test in the UK.
Right.
You're then allowed to enter the UK 14 days before that test, and then provided you pass that test, your employment begins essentially on the date that the test is completed. So therefore you're making a normal Tier 2 application as a work permit application, but just with the test date as your first day of employment essentially. Provided you pass, then you continue on as per usual. If you don't have an employer lined up but you're keen to come across and do the test anyway, the NMC are working with the UK V&I, a UK visa and immigration currently to try and set up a visitor visa especially for this purpose, so that you can come across for 6 months and take the test.
So it's like an equivalent of those coming over on a business visit or family or general
Exactly,
visit.
you're getting 6 months in the way that any other visitor visa would allow you to have, but in this case it's specifically to come and do that test.
Right. Okay. Very helpful. Okay. I just got one query online right now. Look, I want you to answer this. There's one query from June, and he's currently in the Philippines right now, and he wants to come here as a nurse. He recently passed IELTS and got 1 year of experience. Now asking for the test centers. So I think he has not registered with NMC yet, but he's asking about these centers because it's not anywhere on the NMC website.
Okay, yes. As I understand it, that the NMC website is encouraging you, if you're at the stage where you're ready to take the test, that obviously this is something that they invite you to once you begin the NMC process.
So you need to register first.
You need
and
to
then
register
wait
first.
for them to respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an
right.
initial stage whereby you're going to show your eligibility to the NMC by showing that you meet those initial requirements, and
Right.
only then will they invite you to come and do that test. And I imagine by the stage that anyone is actually ready to do that, they will be able to give out the relevant information about those test centres. That said, I do believe that it's Pearson VUE
Okay.
that are actually running those tests.
Right,
So
okay.
perhaps contacting them directly you may be able to get more information about that. Further to that, on our website, which is www.immigrationandmigration.com, there'll be further information about that as well.
Okay. And link about all this.
Yeah, exactly, and a link explaining all of this. So by all means go on to the website, and any further information as it comes available will be up on that website as well.
Yeah. I think my personal view on this, it's now easier because they don't have to go on adaptation, wherein their salary is automatic into 21 grand something for a nurse, right?
Yeah, that's right.
For the same code. Okay, let's just go into reviewing the process. Look, so first, they just need to qualify through IEL 777 and year of experience.
Yep.
And then they submit or they register with NMC, and they will be given a test center.
Yep. So the initial process is you will need to do a self-assessment on form, essentially online, to show that you meet those initial requirements. And
I think they need to pay.
They will need to pay a small fee of around, I think it's 140 pounds.
It's the council. I mean, it's NMC Nursing and Midwifery Council who will charge you that amount.
Yes.
Okay.
So the NMC would charge you that amount. You begin the application process by paying that fee and doing the self-assessment form. Provided they're content that you meet the eligibility requirements, they will then give you the information about where to continue on to the first competency test.
The first test.
The online test.
It's computer-based exam.
Yes.
Test of competency. Okay. And then after that, if they pass, they are now able to apply for apply for a visit visa for the intention of taking a practical test called what is it called again?
The OSCE, which is the Objective Structured Clinical Examination.
Yes, right. Okay. And as I think, which university is it going to be?
So that's at Northampton University.
Okay, so it's specified at NMC website that it's going to be there.
As I understand it, at the moment, it's only the University of Northampton that is offering that.
Okay, cool. Okay, and after that, you just need to submit some identification, and then you will be given a PIN. That easy.
So yes, so we've got the eligibility followed by first competency test in your country that you're applying from. That allows you to come to the UK for your second, more extensive competency test. Provided you pass both of those tests, there's some identification, document verification, and then you'll be getting your PIN and entered onto the register.
Okay, all right, and okay, it's basically the same and more quicker this time.
It's basically the same, but I would say a little bit more advantageous for nurses coming across.
Okay, yeah, because we have heard a lot of hearsay from people. Like in the Philippines, because we are producing loads of nurses from Philippines at the moment. Even NHS and other hospitals are recruiting nurses direct from Philippines.
Yes.
And there is a rumor right now that it's becoming more difficult for them to come here. So right now, as long as they know how the registration process is done, it's easy. It's easier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's easier. I think there's always a bit of alarm when the procedures change.
Okay.
But I would say that they shouldn't be worrying at this stage. There's I would say a slightly more simple route to the UK available at this stage.
Very nice. When did you start working? Oh, this is a different one. Look, when did you start working for Filipino community? As you said, 80% of client base are Filipinos. So how was it? When did you start, basically?
Well, I personally started in January 2014.
Okay.
So I've been working for IAM basically as an immigration caseworker since then. But I worked with the Filipino community with IAM for about 6 months before that as well, on a less permanent basis. But,
So how was it? What can you say? Because I heard that you have attended Filipino community event called Barrio Fiesta.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was it? How was the experience like, being with Filipinos and stuff?
No, it's been great. It's been very fun. Filipino people, the Filipino people that I've met have been very fun, joyful people. It's
Do you have
been a pleasure.
Plans of traveling to Philippines maybe in the future?
Yeah, I mean, talking with my colleagues about the possibility of going, I'd love to go, but no immediate plans. But
okay.
But I'm waiting for one of my colleagues to invite me.
Other than this, look, what else do you do? Well, Yeah. What else do you do? Yeah, we know you're a lawyer. Yeah, okay. What are the other things do you do when you're not doing cases like immigration cases?
Okay, as in the legal
No,
profession or
like,
outside of work?
Outside of work.
Well, I write and perform music.
Whoa,
So
okay.
I've played quite a few times
Mhm.
in London.
Right. Have you recorded any song?
Yeah. There a lot of the stuff I've recorded is quite old.
Oh,
But
like how old?
well, probably the last song I wrote was about 5 years ago.
5 years ago. And
That-
do you still have that record? Because at Radio Filipino UK, we
Mhm.
welcome, singers from, any countries.
Yeah.
But mostly are Filipinos, and we play their music.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe, you can send us your, sample music. and we
Yeah,
can play
yeah.
it
I
for
could
the
send you
Filipino listeners.
what would be an old song,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
could send it.
Okay.
You let me know.
All right. Okay. It was really nice. We're really delighted, look, that you joined us today. Thank you very much. Do you have any last message to the listeners, your Filipino, maybe friends and clients?
Well, not only to say that if you find yourself with immigration queries, or particularly if you find yourself with immigration concerns or things that are causing you to feel anxiety or uncertainty, then don't hesitate to go on our website or get in contact with us, and we're more than happy to try and clarify the situation and and help you if you want to make an application to come to UK.
All right. Thanks very much, Luke.
No, thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. When magbabalik po tayo with more of immigration cases, stories of Pinoy success. Thank you for tuning in. See you again in a bit.
This is it. This is really, really is it.
Narito na ang pinakabagong himpilan ng radyo online na tsak na aangkop sa panlasa nating mga Pilipino at henerasyon ng mga British Filipino sa UK.
Ganon? Grabe!
Ito ang Radyo Pilipino UK. Mas upbeat, informative, trendy at cool na tsak na magugustuhan ng bawat isa.
Ha? Ano? Saan ba?
Saan ka pa? Dito ka na sa Radyo Pilipino UK.